Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Watch Darius TV. This is back with another review of The Boys. This is season 3, episode 3, Barbary Coast, I think it's pronounced. I don't know. Barbary, I don't know what it is. Anyway, this is a review. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video, do all the other stuff. This was another episode. Pretty good. The intro starts with Starlight's beauty pageant, her as a kid, her upbringing, and stuff like that. It's pretty strange seeing a kid her age dancing to Hit Me Baby One More Time by Britney Spears. But I guess it shows that she's forced to, engage in activities she doesn't like because her mom wants to make her do beauty pageants. So, she's forced to do something she don't like. And she's clenching her fist to, hold in her anger and hate for doing something she clearly does not want to do. So, interesting little viewpoint on her upbringing and stuff like that. Then this scene, next scene is Homelander. He's basically sitting in his room without any clothes on, looking at his video of his meltdown. This is one of the few times where we see Homelander without any clothes on, which is really strange. You think that he wears any other clothes besides his suit. Nope, his super suit. It's weird seeing without any clothes on. I don't recall seeing him any other time without any clothes on in the series. So, yeah. Homelander now, he has a lot of white male fans now after this rant that he went on. So, I don't know. Maybe he's like a superhero version of Donald Trump. I don't know what they're going for, But basically, his rant ended up doing him well. It ended up being good for him. I didn't really expect for that to happen. But, yeah, he's doing pretty good. Also, in this episode, we see that the boys, are finally back together. They are staying in the flat tower building, so they've come up now. Now they got their own tower that they are living in, kind of like the Seven. Instead of staying at some, well, I ain't gonna lie, I did think that underground layer that they were at was a little bit more cooler, but it kind of fits with their look. But now they got their own, I guess you can say, building, like some superheroes or something. And they're all back together now, so that's pretty cool. Huey is willing to get his arm broken just to basically have a reason so he doesn't have to end up going to work and crossing paths with Victoria. So that was interesting. He ends up getting his arm broken. I always wonder, was this a reference to, in the comic books, Huey, he ended up taking like some candy from Kimiko and she ends up breaking his arm. So I wonder, was this a reference to that? Because she breaks his arm for him. So I was wondering, was that a reference to the comics or something like that they were doing? I'm not sure. But, yeah, he ends up having his arm just completely shattered. Starlight makes the choice on who is coming into the Seven. And she basically ends up wanting everybody that works there to know that, let Homelander know that she's making a decision. Which is ironic because the end of this episode really flips that on its head. So that was pretty interesting. Cherie finally makes a reappearance again, and now she's trying to get she got into drug dealing, and she wants help from Frenchie. The drug dealer that's after her is Nina, so Frenchie wants to help his old girlfriend again. Well, he doesn't want to, but basically he ends up finding out a way to try to help her anyway, though, even though he probably really doesn't want to get involved with any of this stuff. We end up also finding out that Soldier Boy killed MM's family, which is why he's back on the case, helping his team out, the boys, and why he was also doing research on Payback. So this guy ends up killing his family. Vaughn is already responsible for his dad's death, and now Soldier Boy is responsible for killing his family. Jeez. Wow. I feel sorry for MM. Starlight wants to warn her ex-boyfriend to not join the Seven because basically Homelander is pretty much sitting up acting a complete fool of himself, and it's just a bunch of craziness going on. So she wants to stop, what's his name again? Supersonic. So she wants to stop Supersonic from joining the Seven because, she's all worried about him and stuff like that. She feels it would be a better idea for him to not join Supersonic. A-Train says that now we find out the reason for why I guess we haven't really seen him do too much of any running so far this season is that if he runs, there's a chance that his heart might end up exploding. Wow, he tells his brother that. That's crazy because he was one of my favorite characters. I love seeing his scenes. I wonder, are they gonna I often wonder, are they cutting back on a budget or something like that as to why he hasn't been doing any running lately? But wow, his heart will literally explode if he runs too much. Jeez. And just to think, if he actually didn't use the compound V at all, his rival last season ended up dying anyway, so it almost felt like it was for nothing. If he just stopped using the compound V, then he probably wouldn't even be in this position in the first place. But, you know, who knows? So it seemed like it was all for nothing, but who knows with A-Train. He's one of my favorite characters, though, in the show. I'll say that. Kimiko and Ryan, they talk about their powers. I like that scene. They both basically hate their powers, you know, and their powers are basically used as more of weapons more than anything else. You know, so in this world that they're in, so it's kind of hard for them to be actual real heroes. Kimiko's whole power is just basically almost being an animal. And Ryan, he has heat vision, and basically he ended up accidentally killing his mom with. So they look like they can just be weapons, really. So, Butcher makes Mallory give up information on Soldier Boy. So we get a lot of intel, like a lot of background looking on Soldier Boy and stuff like that, his relationship with Mallory, and get more of an idea of who Payback were. You know, they seem like they were the original 7 because they were just complete screw-ups and didn't know what they were doing. Kind of like, you know, in the comic books, basically we see that the 7 was trying to stop plane from crashing and completely failed at it, and the plane ended up crashing to the Brooklyn Bridge or something like that in the comic book. So the Payback, basically, this team is just a whole screw up like the 7. Basically, they seem like they were the original ones, you know, but they were the second, you know, famous superhero team under the 7. So they're just a total screw up B-list team. And then Mallory. Also, there was a scene where Mallory was also talking about her history with, I guess, being in the military or something like that. She talks about how she was also behind selling drugs in minority neighborhoods, pumping drugs into these minority neighborhoods and stuff like that, and keeping them out of the white neighborhoods. So, you know, MM clearly was not happy with that, but Mallory is just, you know, I don't know, very sick woman. We see a young Edgar and Mallory in these flashbacks too, which is pretty interesting. Both of those actors are really good at playing the younger versions of Edgar and Mallory. I like that. Payback were the first superheroes in the military. Mallory is against it, but Edgar was, of course, for it. And isn't even Edgar isn't and even has soldiers serve the hero. Oh yeah, Edgar also ends up even having the soldiers in Mallory's team serve the heroes on his team, and Payback basically like to be treated like celebrities, like they're gods, even though they're completely horrible soldiers. But you know, they end up getting most of the soldiers killed anyway during this flashback, so they just completely didn't know what the heck they were doing. We see Black Noir talking to Edgar, and we see that Black Noir is black, which is funny. His name means black, and he's actually black, so I guess he's 3 times black then. I don't know, but yeah. So we finally see him under the mask. He is yeah. So you know, that was interesting. I already assumed that basically he most likely probably gets his face blown up in his flashback, and we find out later on this episode he indeed does get most of his face completely blown off, which is why he has a mask on. And last season, when we see Maeve sort of pull most of his mask up, we didn't know what we were looking at. I thought he was some type of, I don't know, alien experiment or something like that. I don't know what I was looking at under that mask. I don't know, his face looked completely destroyed. It's pretty ironic that also in season 2, when he fought against the fire guy, I forgot his name, he ends up getting half of his face burnt off then. So it's weird. So he gets his face blown off a second time. But this time, in season 2 intro, he didn't even feel it. So I don't know what did they turn Black Noir into. I don't know. He's like, I don't know how he became what he is now, this killing machine. But I am happy we finally seen Black Noir again, though, so far this season. We haven't seen him in the present time yet, but this flashback was pretty interesting. Even though in the comic books, basically, they go the whole series without showing how he looks like until the end, but yeah. Soldier Boy basically is sort of like a bully Captain America, basically. Just a total, you know, jerk, I guess. That's what Soldier Boy is in this series. Homelander wants the Deep to return to the 7. That's clearly a chess move he's doing to go against Starlights. You know, basically even the first 2 seasons, it seemed like he was sort of having some weird tug-of-war match with Queen Maeve, and now he's doing that with his co-captain, Starlight. So he's pretty much putting Starlight through all kinds of hell, kind of like what he probably was doing to Queen Maeve. Homelander doesn't want Silver Kincaid into the 7 because she's Muslim, and he feels that this is an American team. So I guess in that now he's sort of incorporating a little bit of Stormfront's ideology, I guess, in a way. Homelander's fine with the video being released, video release of the plane crashing. But then he ends up telling Starlight of all the people he will kill off if this ends up being released. You have nothing to lose. I think I gotta say, after hearing that, now I can actually say that now he feels probably a little bit more scared than Omni-Man from Invincible. He's getting up there now. He's feeling a lot more scarier now, I would say. We end up finding out that Homelander, he really wants love. He loves the love of the people worshiping him and loving him, but he's also fine with being feared. Now they've pretty much lost the leverage over him. Who would have known that this would have happened? To go from, them controlling him with that clip being able to be released. I mean, we knew that if it was going to get released, he would completely wreak havoc on the world, but now there's no leverage no more. So it's just, now he's completely kind of off the leash. So I guess we're going to see more crazier and crazier Homelander for the rest of the season. The Deep has sex with his girlfriend, but he's looking at this octopus while he's doing it. Just being weird as always, I guess. That's the Deep. I mean, what can you say about him? The drugs are now starting to have a weird side effect on Butcher. His son, Ryan, can, smell that is, making his blood smell funny, and there's just all kinds of weird side effects that are happening to him. So, I don't know. He's probably going to continue to use this drug just so he can have some type of chance of being able to go up against Homelander. It reminds me so much of A-Train, taking them drugs just so he can be able to stay in the 7, and now Butcher is taking drugs so he can be able to continue his mission. So, alright. Huey tells Starlight she will have to stay in the 7 because he's back to working with Butcher to kill Homelander. So she now has to stay in the 7, even though it seems like she wants to get out so you get away from Homelander. But unfortunately, she has to stay so she can keep an eye on the Homelander. This puts a strain on their relationship, but she agrees to look over Homelander, even though he's making her life utter hell in the 7. A-Train's brother pushes A-Train into really helping the black causes, not just talk about it. I like that. He ends up showing him a clip of another superhero that basically ended up killing a black man that had 3 kids and stuff like that. So he's like, hey, actually do something about the black community and causes and stuff like that. I mean, he was already racially profiled back in season 1, so, and then you dealt with a supervillain Nazi in season 2, so you might as well put some effort into doing something for the black causes. I mean, you are the only black superhero in the 7. So, instead of, talking about it, you can actually do something about it. Ryan can tell, like I said, something's wrong with Butcher's health from them drugs, and he's trying to hide it. Most of the payback shows that they are awful in battle, clearly. Mallory says, just like I predicted, let me see, he's blowing his face off. With Black Noir also, I see that he is not a Homelander clone like he was in the comic books. We already kind of hinted that at the end of last season. He was somebody else, clearly under the mask. We didn't know who he was, a black person, or maybe he was some type of, who knows what he was, but it didn't look, I don't know, it definitely didn't look like no type of Homelander clone, so we find out he's basically a black dude. So, that's how that is. So, the Russians take Soldier Boy's body, and Mallory's men are pretty much killed in this flashback, and she wants Vault to pay. She's been wanting Vault to pay ever since that day. So, that's the reason for why she's completely against Vault, Ryan is mad that Ryan is mad when Butcher ends up deciding to leave, And Butcher ends up deciding to throw his mother's death right in his face and says, hey, I don't want to see you, maybe because you remind me of when your mom died. It's something really brutal to say, and Ryan is almost on the verge of zapping his dad too, but he decided not to. This makes Mallory even angrier at Butcher after their discussion in this episode of, you know, the events surrounding Soldier Boy. Frenchie is questioned by this powerful drug dealer, Nina. He threatens her with the government backing because now he's working for the government, so she decides that she don't want to get involved with that. But she still isn't completely done with him yet. So that's what that is. I'm pretty sure probably going to see more of this powerful Nina lady. Homelander makes the Deep eat Timothy the octopus. That was pretty dark and weird, but it seemed like all of the Deep scenes are really some unusual scene that he has with an animal, some type of form of bestiality. You know, just it's really weird. Dark, but really weird. Homelander says he is free at last, basically sort of making a very twisted version of Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech. You know, it's pretty ironic coming from somebody like Homelander who, you know, just a completely sick dude. Like I said, he hooked up with Stormfront in season 2, who, you know, was a Nazi. So him deciding to take Martin Luther King's famous speech and sort of twisting it to convert to him being free to do whatever he wants is really dark. But, you know, Homelander, he's an interesting villain. You know, just making everything, I don't know, eviler, I guess. Butcher wants a meeting with Nina, and he decides he wants to go to Russia. I remember there was a storyline in the comic books of them going to Russia. I forgot some of the characters they meet. I think Love Sausage was one of them characters they meet. So, yeah, anybody that ever read the comic books, you know what I'm talking about. Starlight's ex, Supersonic, decides that he wants to stay in the running to join the 7, which he ends up getting. He ends up getting a seat at the 7. So, that's what he is. I'm guessing he's replacing... what's her name? I guess he's either replacing... what's her name? Replacing Stormfront or maybe Translucent. One of those two characters he's replacing. But that's what that is. And the Deep is, of course, back in there too. Butcher and Huey were talking about Ryan before they end up pretty much cutting that talk short when Butcher ends up vomiting some type of weird green slime right onto Huey's face. So that completely throws out whatever they were talking about with Ryan. They decided to cut out all the heart-to-heart talk and just go right to that. That was pretty gross. Supersonic is, like I said, he's in the 7, and once he joins the 7, it shows how racially tone-deaf Homelander is when he decides to speak to him in Spanish, I believe it was what he was speaking to him in. Just, I don't know what Homelander was trying to do there, but just being utterly tone-deaf, I guess. Homelander lies and says that he is with Starlight. They are dating, you know, and basically tells the Deep to not go to her because that's his quote-unquote girlfriend. That completely ends up driving Starlight completely off the rails because, like, well, what is this? What are you doing? I would never date you. You're a psychopath. And then they end up having a scene again where she has to replay this thing, and now she ends up having to actually kiss him. So she ends up squeezing her fist again, holding in that anger that she had as a kid from doing those, you know, dance pageant things and stuff like that. So, yeah, crazy episode. Really good. Yeah, this was a pretty good episode. I'm still trying to figure out when we're going to actually see Black Noir, you know, in the flesh. And, you know, I still haven't seen Queen Maeve in a while. I don't know what's going on, where she went to. Maybe I must have missed out on something from episode 1, but we haven't seen her in a while. And I hope to see more of A-Train. Actually, maybe see him use his powers or something, even though he can't do it. He's, like I said, he's one of my favorite characters. I want to see what he's going to do pertaining to the black community. You know, maybe he can actually do something for once. And, yeah, now they're headed to Russia, so I'm assuming that they're going to take in some of them storylines from Russia. I'm still curious to see when the Hero Gasm is going to pop up. I heard that was going to be coming in this season. That weird storyline. I want to see more of what they're going to do with that. And, yeah, now, you know, supposedly Homelander is with Starlight now. I wonder how they're going to play that around. You know, plus her ex is on the team now, so that's pretty awkward. And on the team with the Deep again, so it's just a bunch of weirdness going on. So, yeah, this episode was really good. And, yeah, it was a pretty good episode. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks for watching my video.